Hey, everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to PHLY Flyers pregame presented by Bet365. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for the evening. Joining me live in the Xfinity mobile studio, it is Petey. That's right, our friend Steve Peters. Petey, I've been getting jealous. I see you on Wet Chaos. I see you everywhere, and I was like, we got to bring him back. And as luck would have it, it's for the Utah game, so you're a little familiar with this franchise, or at least the previous iteration of it, although this is a brand new team. It has nothing to do with the Coyotes. They just took all their players.
Yeah, I'm tired of hearing that. This is the Arizona Coyotes. Forget it. But, and I'm glad you called me, Bill, because last time we did this, it was a day game. By the way, I did call Gary Bettman right after that game saying all games should be day games. No, I didn't call Gary Bettman.
I would appreciate
like this.
That.
I'm on the West Coast today, and so the time zones are finally clicking right for me. So this is a little nighttime. I get a little late there in Philadelphia for the people that are sticking around to watch this big tilt on the road after a big win in Vegas the other night.
And it was a much needed win to stop a 6-game losing streak. They went 0-5-1. They were just getting their heads kicked in. And at first it was, all right, Toronto's hot. You had the lead. You give up a shorthanded goal. Like, all right, you take them to overtime at least. Tampa's the best team in the East, and they haven't lost in like a month. So you take it for what it is. And then all of a sudden it's, Pittsburgh, the Rangers. You're getting your asses kicked by these teams? That's not great. Finally, they put an end to it against the Golden Knights, and now they take on the Mammoth tonight. And we take a look at the lineup. We might have some possible changes. We'll take a look at the lines whenever Charlie gets us those from Salt Lake City. But we do know it'll be Sam Ersson in net tonight. 7-8-4 with a .330 at goals against and an .860 save percentage. Petey, his save percentage at .860, he was able to stop 24 of 25 against Vegas. That raised it a whole 5 points. You don't normally see a save percentage go up 5 points in the last 10 days of January, but that's where we are with Sam Ersson right now. He has had a really, really rough go of it. And this is why I love having you on, because we get to get a little look inside the coach's perspective and the sort of conversations that could be had. Ersson has struggled all year, and it's really gotten bad over the last few weeks. Dan Vladar gets hurt. Here comes Alexei Kolosov. And, that's even worse. 0 for 3 gets pulled after 3 goals on 3 shots. What do you say to a player like Sam Ersson, who's clearly, hey, man, if we had our way, you might get a week off and try to reset, but that's not an option, so you just got to keep going out there.
Yeah, this is tough. This is tough when you have a situation where Vladar's had a good season. He's clearly been the number one. We've said that since game one for the Philadelphia Flyers. And last year, now we're seeing what we saw a year ago. It's the rotation of who's going to be the worst goalie this week, and that's frustrating because you hope when Kolosov gets the call up that you go, okay, maybe he can give us a little magic. Maybe he's going to fight and give us something here. He understands how important these games in. Maybe he'll stand on his head. You see it often where an American League kid comes up and puts together a couple of wins, or at least plays well and gives you some momentum. That's not happening right now for Philadelphia. I will say this about Ersson. He was much, much better against Vegas. And you look at what he did on the penalty kill, and by God, he better be good on the penalty kill with all the penalties that are taking. He was outstanding on penalty. This game in Vegas could have clearly gone the other way if not for Ersson specifically on the penalty kill. They need him to be good tonight. And I know that goes without saying that your goalie has to be good, but right now they need good goaltending. And I'll tell you why. The biggest reason, Bill, is what it does to the rest of the team and what it does to the bench. And in Arizona, we went through some pretty lean years and we gave up a lot of goals. And you could see when you're giving up goals like you're giving up now, when you're giving up 5+ in 6 of 7, like you give up that first one and guys' shoulders on the bench go, here we go again. We got no chance. And when you get that mentality on the bench that early in the first period, can't win a hockey game. You need Ersson to make a big save early. I'm talking the first 5 minutes, he needs to stop a breakaway. In the first 5 minutes, the first penalty kill, he needs to make a big save on a one-timer. They need Ersson to be like he was against Vegas if they're going to try to find a way to stay in this game against Utah.
And that's been, like, you think about a goalie winning a team a game, and you think about, all right, protecting a lead in the third, making a big stop with a few minutes left, maybe the net's empty at the other end, something like that. But what Dan Vladar has done so well this year is play well in the first period, because the Flyers have started slowly. They've given up the first goal like all but 15 or 16 times this year, but Vladar has been able to keep them in games by only giving up one in the first and enabling them to kind of find their way into the game and come back, tie it at some point, and then eventually take the lead. And that's why up until 2 weeks ago, they were playing very well. Their record was good. They were second in the division for a little while there. Now it's on Ersson to figure out a way to steady this thing, to at least give the bench the confidence, like you were saying. But we do have an update on Dan Vladar from Charlie's practice notes. He says, a source told me on Tuesday that if Vladar had his way, he might try to come back for Wednesday's game against the Utah Mammoth. The Flyers, however, they're not going to let that happen. They want to give him a few more extra days. That just speaks to how Vladar is feeling. So this is another one, Petey. How does that conversation go down? Like, because the coaches are like, yeah, we'd really like to win, so we want the goalie who's actually good to play, but we got to protect you from yourself a little bit. Is that kind of what has to be said there?
It is. There's going to be a discussion between the coach and the medical guys on can it get worse? Can he get hurt worse? Is this going to be something that if he pulls it, we're looking at longer time on the shelf? They're being cautious. You're going on the road trip. You're playing Utah and Colorado in your next two. I would anticipate that you won't see him until they come home to play the Island. That game in Colorado, that's going to be tough. I mean, clearly he's going to see a lot of rubber. So I don't know if that's the first game you want to see a recovering Dan Vladar get as his first start back. So I would anticipate them holding him out to get him in against the Island. And you're right. Coaches, I always hear that. Well, what goalie do you play? You play to win the game today. And you play whatever goalie is going to give you the best chance to win today. And we'll worry about tomorrow, the next day. We got to win today. And so I know the coaches, and believe me, Rick Tocchet wants to win every game. And he feels Dan Vladar gives him a better chance to win. That's who he wants to play. But having said that, still a lot of hockey left. You can't put off the future either. Like if you get it, we had this happen with Darcy Kemper in Arizona, where he got hurt on a play in a meaningless game, getting beat by 5. He stays in, doesn't get pulled, and he's out, pulls a groin, and he's out for the next 2 months. You don't want that to happen with Dan Vladar. If you want to battle your way back in this, it's going to be on his shoulders. So you got to wait till he's 100% ready.
Yeah, and it looks like that is the thing. That was when I see, well, if Vladar had his way, he'd play Wednesday against the Mammoth. It makes me think, oh, well, maybe Friday. And then you look, oh, it's the Avs. And the Avs are like one of 2 teams that get like 30 shots a game when everyone else is shooting less. The Avs and Hurricanes are actually the only teams like shooting a ton this year. And I don't even think the Avs are padding their stats maybe the way people think the Canes do. They just have the puck the entire game. That's just basically how Colorado plays. If I was worried about the health of my goalie a little bit, I probably wouldn't put them out there again against Nathan MacKinnon. That's just my thought on the subject. And we do have the lines. We have the lineup for tonight. It will be Grundstrom coming out, Grebenkin going in, and the Dvorak, Zegras, Konecny line stays together up top. Cates with Michkov and Brink stays together. Coots, Barkey, Tippett, and then Peterson, Grebenkin, Hathaway. So exact same lineup as 2 nights ago, except Grebenkin comes in for Grundstrom. I can't say that's a huge surprise. They're really just trying to find something that works with that fourth line. They seem to finally find something steady. And then, of course, Rodrigo Abels gets hurt, so now Lane Peterson is up. Now they are subbing in a Grebenkin for Grundstrom on the wing. Not a ton of difference there. And on defense, same as it has always been, at least since the latest Rasmus Ristolainen injury. York and Sanheim up top, Andre and Drysdale your second pair, and Sealer and Juleson are your third pair. Not a shocking lineup. Basically, what they have been going with, Petey. Does anything stand out to you though?
Well, I tell you what, this top 6 is going to have to try to find a way to generate some offense. And we saw it over the last few games without Konecny stealing a couple of passes. These games could have ended differently. We're not seeing that rush of 5. We're not seeing, a group that's cycling and getting those pucks to the net. I think we need to see more offensive output by those top 6. And I'm really curious to see how Matvei Michkov plays today. I think you're starting to hear some rumblings now, and I know we're going to get into penalties, but Michkov's going to have to put the pedal down a little bit. We talked before the show started where he was a year ago. He's 10 points short of where he was a year ago at this exact time. And you don't want to see players like him regress. He's not 35 going on 36. He's a kid, and you want to see that he should be adding 10 points, not subtracting 10 points this time of the year. So I think this is going to be a big game for Michkov to see what he can do. But I do think it's unfortunate because everything was going so well when Tyson Foerster got hurt. You had a line you could put out there anytime and go, okay, we're fine with Cates, Foerster, and Brink. And now you don't have that. And again, you're juggling lines all the time, and you can find the weakness on any of these lines right now. And that's a problem. I think they're going to need to get these top 6 guys to get their feet moving, play north-south instead of east-west. And I think people know what I mean by that. Stop making these long plays side to side to the sideboard. Just go get the puck moving north. Get your feet moving and go north. Too many plays coming across the blue line, stopping, cutting up. Go to the net. This Flyer team needs to get to the blue paint against Karel and this Utah defense.
Yeah, and speaking of Michkov, that was kind of it. I thought we started to really see him build some chemistry with Denver Barkey, and whether it was Cates or Couturier as the center, these are north-south players that he could be out there with and kind of take care of those details so he can be his creative self with the puck, but he's playing off of 2 guys who you know what they're going to do, and if you're going to play alongside them, you kind of have to play at their pace. Now he's with Brink again, he's going to be playing a lot more left wing with Barkey. It seemed like they were going back and forth, but Brink is a pretty steady right winger. So I know a lot of people in the chat hate him on the left wing. To me, it's just, hey, he's got to stop fumbling pucks on his backhand if he's going to actually be a lefty playing the right wing. Like, I understand because you see the shooting percentages. Hey, when he's moving to his left from the right, he shoots like 20%. When he's moving from his left to the right, like, it's the exact opposite, and it's like 10% lower. I get it, but he also has to not turn pucks over every time he's on his backhand if he wants to be a right winger. Like, that's just kind of what it comes down to.
And Bill, this is what we talked about last year when we were talking about the power play, and when Michkov and Torts, before he was let go, he flipped Konecny and Michkov, and they were on the wrong side. And Michkov looked completely out of place on the left side. That's on the power play where you want him, coming on the top of that right circle and getting that one-time shot availability there. 5-on-5, this is a guy that's got enough skill that should be able to take this puck wide and drive the net, and on his forehand. And I guess you want him to be better. And when you watch this Flyer team, he's one of the guys that you want to play well. Like when I'd watch him play last year on the power play, I go, gosh, I want to see this exciting player, and I'm just not seeing the fireworks right now. And he's going to have to find that. Like, that's why you have a player like Matvei Michkov in your lineup. That's why you take the shot at him at the draft and go, okay, we're going for a guy that's going to bring some offense to our team. I think he's going to have to learn to start playing north-south, playing straight ahead. And that does mean playing on his strong side on the left-hand shot on the left-hand side. So you're right. With Cates and Brink, 2 straight-ahead guys, 2 guys that you know what you're going to get. They're going to work hard. They're going to do the right things. They're going to play the right way, play responsible. Now it's Matvei Michkov's responsibility to provide offense for that line. So this is going to be a key for this game tonight against Utah.
All right, coming up on the other side, we're going to talk about this team's penalty problem, the special teams, and how often they are on special teams, but we got to take our break. All right, it's time for me to tell you about Xfinity and the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. What if I could offer you reliable and intelligent Wi-Fi? And what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? Well, that's the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Imagine Wi-Fi that makes everything in your home work together and that fixes problems before you even notice them, like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a 6th sense. Imagine Wi-Fi that lets you stream the game even when the whole family's online and has all your devices working in perfect harmony. And imagine all that for 5 whole years. And the best part, there's no annual contract, no hidden fees, and Xfinity's best equipment is included. Take it from me, a lot can change in 5 years. Championships are won, records are broken, but your Wi-Fi, it should stay reliable and the price should stay put. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities with Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Select plans only, restrictions apply. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Bet365 has 90 million users worldwide, and they live stream almost 800,000 events each year. And today, Bet365 offers the widest range of games and markets available for live in-game betting across 78 different sports. And with the Bet365 NHL early payout offer, you're a winner. If your team gains a 3-goal lead, you get an instant payout on straight bets, and parlay selections are marked as winners. It's that easy. And we have breaking news from our friends at Bet365. New customers now get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5, win or lose. All you got to do is sign up, use the code PHLY365, deposit $10, and place a bet for $5 to get $200 in bonus bets, whether your initial bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus and NPA. If you or somebody knows a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, it's time to talk penalties with Petey. And Petey, your old colleague Rick Tocchet has rightfully had enough of this team's penalty problem, because to start the year it was bad. They tailed off a little, seemed like they had gotten it figured out, and they are right back to playing really undisciplined hockey. 7 penalties against the Vegas Golden Knights. They were extremely lucky to be able to escape Vegas with a couple of points, but we see this quote from Rick Tocchet, I believe yesterday when Charlie talked to him. Says, if a guy's taking a lot of penalties, what's the next level? Can't play him. Might have to sit him out. It could get to that level with some guys because we're taking too many of the same penalties. And to me, that speaks directly to stick penalties, Petey. You know, if you're a little over aggressive and you're the one guy who gets taken in a scrum in front, you get called for roughing, I can live with it. You're trying to get in on the forecheck, dude turns his back to you. It's dangerous. You don't want to see it, but hey, you get the 2-minute minor for boarding. All right, such is life. That's just hockey. It's a fast sport. Sometimes bad things happen. Hooks, high sticks, tripping, even the occasional cross check. Like, okay, you might get away with 1 or 2. Did you need 4? Because eventually the ref's going to go, now you're just taunting me. I have to call you because you're being an a-hole. Like, I just can't take it with these stick penalties, Petey.
Yeah, it's frustrating from the coaching staff. Absolutely. But the biggest problem with this is teams take penalties. And there's a team very similar to the Flyers in taking penalties per game, and that's Tampa Bay Lightning. The difference? Tampa Bay Lightning is doing it because they're defending quick. They're quick on people. They're physical on people. And they also kill penalties. They're the 3rd best penalty kill in the National Hockey League. You know who doesn't have the 3rd best penalty kill in the National Hockey League? The Philadelphia Flyers. So if your penalty kill is not good enough, you cannot take penalties like this because you're just giving up goals. Like the rate that this team is taking penalties since January 1st, they've taken more penalties than anybody in the league. They're 31st in the penalty kill since January 1st. It's not good enough. You've given up 9 shorthanded or 9 power play goals against in the last 5 games. Like this is tilting games. And I will say this about Utah. Utah's power play started off hot with Gunther and Keller, and that was back when Logan Cooley was in the lineup. With Cooley out of the lineup, their power play has cooled considerably. And since January 1st, it's 30th in the league. So luckily, they're not going in to play Colorado right now, that they're playing the Utah Mammoth, the team that is struggling on the power play. So clean it up. Stay out of the box. That's going to be one of the big keys tonight. Stay out of the box, because when Dylan Gunther and Clayton Keller get hot, look out. Like, they can get 2 or 3 on the power play. It is frustrating. You're right. Stick fouls happen because your feet aren't moving. And this is a team that is supposed to be playing fast. They want their team to get the puck up the ice fast, but right now they're sitting in quicksand. They're playing in mud. They got to get their feet moving. And if you get your feet moving and you win these puck races, you're no longer taking these stick penalties. So I do think it's something you can correct by just moving your feet. And you're right. If it's acceptable to take this many penalties per game, then somebody's going to have to sit down. And I'm not a big believer in pulling guys out of the lineup for things like this, but I am for sitting guys down on the bench for a little bit and say, okay, you can miss your next shift, your next shift, your next shift. But I do think you have to take some action, because you got to correct this. This cannot continue to go on. It's not sustainable.
Oh, and when that quote came out from Rick Tocchet, a lot of people took this as, well, he is preparing us to sit Matvei Michkov. And once again, to be fair, Mish has taken 21 minor penalties. Sam Bennett and Mikko Rantanen lead all NHL forwards with 22. That's too many. Like, that's just way too many. And you know what he's not giving you? The offense that those two give you, like, to balance it out a little bit, you know? Adrian Kempe also has 21. Evander Kane has 20. Those are the only 5 forwards in the NHL with at least 20 minor penalties. That's too many. Now, it has curtailed a lot recently. Last 7 games, Michkov's only taken 2. 1 is a stick penalty. He got an extra rough for his first career fight the other night. You look at the all of the most recent offenders, and all right, Garnett Hathaway, you know he's going to take penalties. He also draws quite a few. It's like a skill of his. He often takes a guy with him. TK, 3 in the last 7 game, all stick penalties. He is very much someone. Listen, you are counting on him to play with energy, and he is chaos. On the national broadcast a couple weeks ago, John Tortorella called him a wingnut, and he is. He is an agent of chaos on the ice, but you got to keep it under control when you're one of the team leaders. Sanheim, dumb cross-check the other night. He has one of those, and then there's a couple of guys with 1 and 2, but you just see, this is the last 7 games. That's like 2/3 of the roster right there.
Yeah, and one of the things when you look at these guys that are taking penalties, you talk about Garnett Hathaway. Garnett Hathaway is second on this team for the season in hits per 60. You know who's not in the top 10 in hits per 60? Yeah, it's Michkov. So with the style of play that Garnett Hathaway plays, you anticipate him to take penalties. And again, we talked about not wanting to take penalties. Absolutely. Michkov is 22nd on this team in hits. 22nd. Like, dude, like if you're gonna be top 5 in hits, take some penalties because you're gonna be physical. You're gonna be engaged in a game. And you're right. I'm not critiquing Matvei Michkov on his play on the penalties. I don't want to see him taking any penalties because he's the guy you want to have available on the ice. If Matvei Michkov does ever sit, and we talked about this again before the game, we're going beyond the penalties. We're going to a guy that has taken a step backwards offensively, that does make mistakes continually through the neutral zone and the defensive zone, that turns the puck over too much, doesn't drive the puck to the net, it's not providing offense. If he comes out of the lineup, it's for those reasons, maybe in addition to his sitting in the penalty box, but not only because of sitting in the penalty box.
Yeah, that I could see that. And you see there's a number of guys there. And the problem is with how kind of light they are to start the year when Forster was healthy and you could kind of count on this lineup. I really liked what the top 9 was. I really did. It was like, okay, they don't like have a top line because Christian Dvorak's their 1C, but you know what? They have like 3 decent second lines. And now you chip a piece away. Tyson Forster's out, Brink's out for a week or 2, and you just go, ooh, the depth here is not good. Right. The idea of sitting somebody, it's, so we have to play then who? Like Grabenkin and Grundstrom both in the top 9? Don't love that idea. So it's really something. Like, how does a coach instill discipline, Petey? Like, get them together and say, cut it the F out? Like, what can you honestly do other than take away ice time?
So all the coach can control is ice time. First of all, I agree with you. For a team right now where the Philadelphia Flyers are right now, the benefit of benching a player, meaning taking him completely out of the lineup, I'm not quite sure what that accomplishes. I really don't know. I think over the long term, as you progress through this rebuild of sorts, let's face it, this team was not supposed to be battling for a playoff position this year. We talked about it. We were hoping for meaningful games after the new year. So I don't know if you pull that player out of the lineup completely, but you do relegate him to the 4th line. You do take some of his ice time away, but then it's about how that player reacts. If you get a player that pouts, it goes, oh, he's taking away my ice time, and then I don't play anymore. Well, that's not what you want. You want to go, okay, coach, F you, I'm going to go play. I'm going to go pick it up, and I'm going to do better, and I'm going to show you what I can do. And that's what you want for a reaction from a player with the discipline. But more importantly than all of that, the teams that win, and I mean really win, like winning cups, their accountability doesn't come from the coaches room. Their accountability comes from the locker room. It comes from the guy sitting next to you. It comes from the guys that say, hey, stop taking stupid penalties. I've seen fights inside locker rooms amongst players of the same team between periods for doing stupid things. The problem with Philadelphia right now, and I've talked about this on the show too, your leaders, your veteran leadership, Sean Couturier, there are some leaders that don't want to speak up if they're not producing either. If they're not putting up the numbers and putting up the points, they don't feel like they can be justified in speaking. So right now, who is that guy in the Flyer locker room? Who is that veteran voice that can keep some of these guys in line? I'm not convinced they have it. And I do think the accountability for the Philadelphia Flyers has to come from inside the locker room, not necessarily from the coach's room.
Yeah, that's a great point, because for so long we've looked at the coach as if this is a really young team, but man, Travis Konecny's been here a decade. Travis Sanheim was Ron Hextall's first draft pick in 2014. Like, it's been a long, long time. Some of these guys do have to step up, whether it's an Owen Tippett, who's, really become a veteran that this team counts on. Someone has to step up and shake it out, because, listen, we can blame the coach and we can play the us against them card for so long, but when you're on your eighth coach, at a certain point, it ain't on the coach. We're talking about the players here. All right, real quick, we got to talk about the Utah Mammoth. Currently in the first wild card spot out west. They are 25-20-4, and they are doing it without, I guess, to me, like their most recognizable guy or their biggest name, Logan Cooley. He's been on IR since he got hurt December 5th. 14 goals in 29 games. Tonight will be the 21st straight game he's missed. I just really like watching Logan Cooley play, but it's not as if they don't have a lot of really fun guys. You mentioned Dylan Gunther earlier. He was in the games against the Flyers last year. He was really, really good. I was like, how doesn't this guy score 50? He's got one of the best shots I've ever seen. They have a number of good young-ish players. We're seeing Nick Schmaltz really have a career year this season. What have you kept your eye on the Mammoth since they moved, and what do you think of them?
Yeah, I think this is a team that's ready in their rebuild process. Now they're ready to battle for a playoff spot. And one of the things I look at with Utah is their goal differential. I always look at that for playoff teams, and this team is plus 18. So when you look at Anaheim, you look at San Jose, they're both negative goal differential. Utah's there. And this is a team that's consistently been able to keep the puck out of the net, which is what helps them in their success in this season. And you talk about Karel Vejmelka, the goaltender. He's won 8 of 9, 2 or less than 10 of 12. A guy you might not have heard of in Karel Vejmelka. But offensively, they spread it around, and they've been very good on this 6-game homestand. They're 4-0-1 so far to start this out. But more importantly, they've scored almost 4 goals a game on this homestand. Does not bode well for Philly and how well they spread out the offense. But you talked about Nick Schmaltz. He's got 4 goals on this homestand. Lawson Krause, who's been promoted to the top line, he's got 3 on this homestand. And the guy that doesn't have a goal on this homestand is Clayton Keller. He leads the team in 10 points over those last 6 games, but he doesn't have a goal. If you haven't watched Clayton Keller from the Philadelphia Flyer fan perspective, he's a guy that's going to be on the U.S. Olympic team, a dynamic, high-skilled, 200-foot player that plays hard on both ends of the ice. He's going to be the driver for the game tonight. Whether he gets on the scoreboard or not, I'm not sure, but he's the guy that will drive this Utah Hockey Club.
All right, now it's time for our Bet365 pregame picks. Sign up, use the code PHLY365, deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 to get $200 in bonus bets, whether your bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, total, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus and in PA. If you or someone who knows a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, I just have one tonight because I just have so little idea of what to expect out of this team. We are going to throw a dart on an Owen Tippett anytime goal. His odds are a little longer than usual at plus 280, and he has scored a goal in 100% of his career games against Utah. That's right. 1 goal in the single time he faced off with Utah, which was a 4-2 loss at home last December. So about 13 months ago. So we're going with that. Owen Tippett, he's honestly really turned himself into a much more complete player. Maybe he's not becoming like the 35, 40 goal scorer we once hoped he would become, but he's added a little bit of playmaking. He's added some physicality. He's really rounded out his game this season, and it's nice to see, but still has that great release, still leads the team in shots. He's very much one of the offensive creators this year. 6 goals in his last 15. Let's make it 7-16 tonight with a goal against Utah.
I like that, Bill, and I'll tell you why. Because one of the things Owen Tippett can do is he can turn on the afterburners, and he can use his speed. And one thing Utah has a lot of, it's got a lot of old, experienced defensemen, good defensemen, but they're older. And this might be an opportunity for Owen Tippett to show off his speed. And you talked about what he has become when he plays north-south, which we've already talked about, and he uses his speed going forward, he is a dynamic player. When he gets stuck in the mud and he tries going east-west or cutting across the blue line, that's when he disappears. So let's see if Owen Tippett can drive wide and get one by Karel Vejmelka tonight.
I am really hoping for it. All right, Petey, thank you for joining us. Petey will be back here for post-game as soon as this thing goes final, and we will be giving away general admission passes. That's right. The giveaway is starting tonight. General admission passes to the Flyers Charities Carnival, which is on February 1st. We have a whole bunch of them to give away. On Friday's show, we will be giving away the grand prizes, the meet and greets, the sign and snaps with Cam York, Travis Sanheim, and Christian Dvorak. But over this post game and tomorrow's show at 4 o'clock, we'll be giving away the general admission seats that we have, the general admission passes to the Flyers Charities Carnival. Always an awesome day. So make sure you tune in to post game for that. And that's all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers pregame presented by Bet365. Thank you all for listening. Thanks for hanging out. Make sure you're following us right here on the PHLY Sports YouTube page. We'll be back with postgame. Make sure you're following us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers. And make sure you're following the podcast as well. All right, I am Bill Matz. That is Steve Peters. Till postgame, let's go Flyers.